All right, ladies and gentlemen, the riding season is about to start. I want to go over a few things real quick. Most important, let's get those fluids changed. I choose to use Amsoil. I believe in the product. You're going to need 4 quarts of oil, 1.5 quarts for the primary fluid, and 1 for the transmission. I'm not going to go into detail how to change that. Plenty of videos on that already. I'm going to give another thing a try this year is that Amsoil Miracle Wash. Heard that's comparable to the top coat that you keep seeing ads for. Another thing that I do is I deviate a little bit. I go with a K&N Performance oil filter. That's a KN171C for chrome, 171B for black. You can get that at AutoZone, about $15.99. My bike is a 2013 touring model, so that's what that's for. The most important thing that people forget is let's check that tire pressure. Why not do it while the bike's up in the air? Probably the most overlooked thing people do on their bikes. I've got this handy dandy little Harley Davidson. Didn't buy it because it's made by Harley, just because it's convenient. But it's a tire pressure gauge. The gauge itself swivels, so the line can be moved in any way it wants. But when you put it on there and it checks the gauge, the needle goes up and then it retains that pressure until you push this little release valve right here. So let's go in and show you. Not going to be too easy to do by myself, and holding a camera at the same time. But if I go ahead and hit that tire pressure once, come back, look at my needle, and you're going to see I run probably about 38 cold, knowing that some manufacturers say to pump that thing up to 40. I imagine it's going to get to 40 once it reaches speed. So another thing you want to do is go around your bike, check your bolts, make sure everything's tightened up. People overlook this. This is your front motor strut mount to keep it from shaking. Make sure that thing's tightened up. I already heard of one guy had a loose one this riding season as it starts already. Make sure your cables are out of the way, everything's tight, nothing's falling off, things are reattached. If you're running a K&N air filter or an aftermarket air filter, go ahead and take that off. Clean it, recharge it, put it back on, make sure that's done. Some people ask me about these lines coming off. I bypassed my lines so that I'm not running oil down into the engine off of the crankcase. Basically, they come in and it goes into another line, goes down, and then I've got a small K&N air filter underneath here that just breathes that air out. Doesn't ever suck any air in, so I don't have to worry about that. Do I get a little bit of pooling of oil? Yes. But what I don't get is oil back into the engine, into the injectors, causing all that grief as well. So just go through, make sure everything's tight. I've got a rear engine brace here. Make sure that's on, things like that. Your bags are reattached. Those bags, kind of goofy how the Harley does those. I put the bolt kit on mine. But just go through everything, make sure everything's solid. You're not going to have any problems going down the road, because nothing worse than getting stranded on the road or a bag falling off, hitting a person behind you or anything like that. If you run the bells, make sure your bells are tight. You know, things coming off, make sure none of that's going to fall off, things like that. So just double check your bike, make sure it's ready for the season that you want it to be.